All right, welcome back. So in this video, we're going to talk about the Terence Crawford Shawn Porter fight, and it seems like the only roadblock to this fight being made, according to Bob Arum, at least in the little bit that he said, is Terence Crawford himself. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back, man. There's a fight that is supposed to be taking place that I am really excited about. Terence Crawford versus Shawn Porter. It was ordered by the WBO, and we know when fights get ordered by sanctioning bodies, and there's purse bids, so that you have to hold on to your championship. You think the fights get made. It looks like this Terence Crawford Shawn Porter's fight's getting made, but the only hurdle to it, that at least out of the mouth of Bob Arum, is Terence Crawford and whether Terence Crawford will accept the fight. Now, for me, that is not a tremendous surprise because, with Terence Crawford, it's like, you just can never predict what this guy's going to do. He's just not, his logic doesn't fall along the same lines, at least not the same lines as mine. So when you have a surefire thing like this fight with Shawn Porter that is not just good for Terence Crawford, it's also really good for boxing, man. If Terence Crawford, doesn't do this fight, man, I got to say that I'm going to be through with Terence Crawford. Because this is, boxing needs this, man. Or at least I, as a boxing fan, need this type of fight. First of all, the welterweight division is one of the divisions where everybody has been fighting each other over the last couple of years, and there's been some really good fights that have kept boxing very entertaining. And the only portion of the welterweight division that has not been involved in that is Terence Crawford. But once Terence Crawford gets involved and starts fighting the guys over there at the PBC, then you get to see a whole lot of fights that are very solid fights. Not like a lot of the stuff that we've been getting sold in boxing over the last 2 months, man. I'm telling you, if I see another MMA YouTuber, old school fighter exhibition thing, man, I don't know what to do, man. These things are not really good fights. They're not telling you, you're not getting to see the sport at its absolute best light, or at least even in the light, that we usually get to see it in. It's just subpar products. So when you get Terence Crawford and Shawn Porter, which can be made, it's a thing that I really hope does get made. Now, Terence Crawford himself, I don't see, and I've said this a bunch of times, I don't see how he can get out of this fight, or under what circumstance he would get out of it without, having to lose his belt, right? The WBO ordered the fight. They said that Terence Crawford needed to fight Shawn Porter. According to Bob Arum, Shawn Porter's already agreed to the fight, and then what he said is hopefully Terence Crawford will agree. Now, my understanding is that Terence Crawford has some new management, and I've seen, a new management company, and it's like, and obviously, there's the rumors that he's connected with Daniel Kinahan, so there's more people that could be involved in the negotiation, which could make it more difficult. But, I'm still leaning, heavily towards this fight getting made. They said that they're going to try to announce the fight coming up in the next couple days, and for November, for the month of November in Las Vegas. So, I'm just really hoping that it is going to take place. But as far as the fight, itself and what the fight means for the welterweight division, it's one step towards making it, towards undisputed in a way where, honestly, where Terence Crawford really deserves an undisputed title. Because as of right now, he hasn't fought anybody of note in the welterweight division. He hasn't really fought anybody, of note that, where it looked like he had, some, challenge posed to him in several years. So there's a lot of people that think, for him to, kind of wait until Errol Spence Jr. and the rest of the welterweights work everything out, and for him to jump in at the end is, would be unfair, right? I don't know about the unfair, but I will definitely say boring. I definitely do not want to see Terence Crawford in there with Zepeda. Don't want to see him in there with an Igas Kalvinakis, or, somebody like an Amir Khan, or or Kell Brook, guys that are well past it. And I don't think that it would really do Terence Crawford a lot of good to get in there with Errol Spence Jr. until he's fought somebody like a Shawn Porter, because Shawn Porter is a higher level fighter than Terence Crawford has. I think it's a higher level fight than Terence Crawford has fought in his career. Not saying that Terence Crawford isn't an excellent fighter and that his skills don't, make it appear as if he's one of the best fighters out there, but competition level really means something, and it means something not just for him deserving of the end result type fight with Errol Spence Jr. for undisputed, or Yordenis Ugas, depending on who would win between the two of them for undisputed, but also just, to get fans excited about the fight because they've seen Terence Crawford in a war. And this fight with Shawn Porter, I do believe, is going to be a war for Terence Crawford. It's not something where Terence Crawford is going to go in there and he's going to be able to play around or not play around. Terence Crawford never plays around in the ring. I want to make sure I give him all the credit due. But it's not something where he's just going to be able to sit there and figure out a guy and know for sure, take a couple rounds to figure him out, and all of a sudden when he needs it, he's just going to be able to turn up the gas and knock him out. That's not the type of fight that he's going to get from Shawn Porter. He's going to get from Shawn Porter, he's probably going to be fighting all 12 rounds. You're going to see Shawn Porter fight on the inside. You're going to see him fight on the outside. And Shawn Porter is absolutely a warrior with a lot of experience, having been in the ring with Errol Spence, Danny Garcia, Ugas, Keith Thurman. I mean, pretty much he's been in the ring with every type fighter, every top fighter in the welterweight division, including Kell Brook back in the day when Kell Brook was actually Kell Brook. So, this is the type of guy that can really make an exciting fight for Terence Crawford. And the benefit for Terence Crawford is that he won't have to hear people like me or other people, say, who have you fought? But, in order to get that credit, he actually has to fight. And I don't believe that it appears that this fight has not been that easy to make. With them having to go to, first of all, they had to go to purse bid, and Terence Crawford is the reason. I know Terence Crawford was one of the reasons that the fight had to go to purse bid, because he wasn't excited about the fight when Shawn Porter started calling him out. When Shawn Porter started calling him out, he said, yeah, well, become my mandatory, and then once you're my mandatory, okay, right, then, I'll fight you when you're my mandatory. That doesn't seem like you're all that interested in fighting somebody when you say, I'll fight you if you become my mandatory, instead of just fighting them, as a voluntary. But however we got here. Hopefully in the next couple of days, we'll hear people say, we'll hear him announce a fight and know that the fight is on for sure. If not, I don't know what Terence Crawford is going to do. And I just do not want to see as a pay to fight versus Terence Crawford any more than I want to see the Belfort Holyfield fight or any of these other fights that really don't mean anything. 2021 has not been the best year of boxing, but this particular fight really could help it become a great year in fight, at least in the welterweight division, because that would be a great fight. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.